Let's assume you know what Dungeons & Dragons is. With the rise of things like Stranger Things and Critical Role, it has secured a pretty big place in pop culture. Dungeons & Dragons, and by extension all role-playing games, have collectively brought like-minded individuals to the table to laugh, cry, rage, and express themselves in ways they may not get to in real life. It's these experiences that give players the opportunity to grow, not just as their characters, but as people outside the game as well. Yes, your silly little make-believe goblin, big boy pea-bottom that steals toenails, has a significant impact on you. Because to put it simply, Dungeons & Dragons is therapeutic. Kinda. Hi, I go by Guy, and I am currently in my PhD in psychology and am a licensed therapist. But more importantly than that, I am an avid TTRPG fan and tragic forever DM who has been playing for over 7 years. Today, I'm going to railroad you into exploring the function of roleplay in TTRPGs and psychology, good, real, peer-reviewed scientific research on the intersection of D&D and therapy, and 3, some anecdotes of real players like you and me. But most of all, I want us to walk out of this video with a deeper appreciation for this fun game that we play. And if you aren't on board by the time we're done here, well then, fireball. So let's quickly break down TTRPGs. Tabletop is less of a type of game and is more of the medium you're playing. I mean, I could play arcs on the floor and lose pieces under the couch if I wanted. It involves all players being seated at, more often than not, a table and interacting with one another to accomplish some sort of goal. This includes board, card, dice, strategy, and of course, tabletop role-playing games. For anything to happen in tabletop games, there needs to be human-to-human connection. However, thanks to virtual tabletops, a physical table isn't even necessary anymore. Next, we have role-playing games. There are 2 definitions of roleplay that we will focus on. The first is the role-playing that you all are most likely familiar with, which Matthew Abbott describes in his paper as an episodic and participatory story creation system that includes a set of quantified rules that assist a group of players and game master in determining how their fictional characters' spontaneous interactions are resolved. In other words, role-playing is actively and sometimes unconsciously changing your behavior to act out another adopted role.
I now go by the name of Daytona, Jackie Daytona.
In the realm of role-playing games, it's a method of storytelling where players take on the role of characters to tell a story and accomplish a goal. The second definition of roleplay is focused on it as a therapeutic intervention. It is defined as the improvised acting out of roles in a specified scenario, and is used as an educational or psychotherapeutic technique.
Let's try some role-playing.
Roleplay has extensive ties to psychology. The philosopher, John Dewey, proposed an imaginative process where people could explore various courses of action and their potential consequences in a safe environment, which he called dramatic rehearsal.
Tracy, maybe it will help if Jack sits in a chair and pretends to be your father.
This is closely related to the psychotherapy intervention called psychodrama, where participants dramatize, act out, and role-play a series of events that relates to their treatment.
I think I can do this. Okay, go.
I'm mad at you, Dad.
There are many articles that speak about the positive outcomes of those who use roleplay in therapy. Evidence shows increased self-efficacy, lowered symptoms of depression and anxiety, improvements in self-esteem, and improvement in social skills, and the list goes on and on and on. So thanks for coming in today. How about we start with what you're coming in for, Mr. Big Boy. Mr. Big Boy. Well, tell me about what you're coming in for today.
Well, Doc, I've been fortunate all my life. I've been able to go on adventures, have traveling companions that I hold very dear to me even to this day. I've seen sights untold, treasures only talked about in myth and legend. And even with all of that, I feel that the world is against me, whisked away like a leaf in the wind, spirited away like a child to the Feywilds. I feel that my luck has turned.
Unlucky, you say? And what makes you say that? Oh. There's a litany of tomes, grimoires, and scientific articles that discuss how TTRPGs can offer positive therapeutic outcomes,
And I just feel connected to everybody.
how to hold sessions as interventions,
What are you doing?
It's for your own good.
and a bunch of other important factors that turn your standard game into a part of treatment. Let's hit just a few of them. First is one of the most important parts that takes your standard game of D&D into a therapeutic intervention, the GM.
D&D is weird. We divide the table up between the players and the DM, and we have this prop to literally represent that.
GMs in this role are usually mental health professionals that have acquired additional training to adapt D&D or any other TTRPG for interventions. They are required to tailor-make each session to address what's coming up for the in-game characters, as well as the present concerns of the out-of-game players. Sometimes they specialize in specific problems like anxiety, grief, or trauma-related concerns. Players may end up in a party of people with similar needs, combating similar issues, and achieving similar goals. Or players may diverge, gaining the possibility to get valuable insight from other perspectives. That's mainly up to the GM. Though it's all fun and games, literally, it's still a serious and professional time for intervention as well. GMs have to ensure ethical practice such as maintaining confidentiality, objectivity, and overall being effective clinicians. They also have to facilitate a safe space for everyone. That looks like establishing healthy boundaries, addressing potentially triggering circumstances, and ensuring care for everyone's well-being, even while they're throwing 15d6 of dice to your face. You take 90 points of emotional damage, by the way. Should a GM successfully establish this environment, players can reap the rewards of some of these legendary booms. Boom number 1, the Tavern. D&D offers a safe, low-stakes setting that allows players to explore their emotions and thoughts, experiment with behaviors, and confront their personal challenges. Being able to do this through the buffer of their character deepens this, especially if they're struggling to express themselves or are trying to find who they are in the first place.
Computer load up, celery man, please.
And for those not fond of traditional therapy for whatever reason, this offers a special place for a long rest. Boon number 2, the gift of gab. D&D can't happen without the interaction between the party members and the world's NPCs. Players can foster collaboration, communication, and negotiation skills that are important in our everyday lives. As players work together to resolve conflicts and share their characters' ideas in game, they're exercising these same skills to apply outside the game as well. Boon number 3, freedom of feeling. When we play D&D, we are inserting a little bit of ourselves into our characters. Your flowing redhead barbarian with
Thick thighs
is fearless in a fight, but may carry your real-life genuine love and interest in birdwatching. Nonetheless, these characters are still separate from you. While you may never have to go through the emotional journeys of losing your treasured family sword, opening that tavern, or committing war crimes. You get to play through your character who has. Having that buffer of a character who isn't you but shares your quirks allows you to process and work through emotions that can be challenging to confront directly. It is the duty of the GM to translate this connection between the game.
Boon number 4,
Heroism. Slaying kobolds, finishing character arcs, finding Bone Boys some calcium for his osteoporosis. These wins contribute to players' self-esteem and self-efficacy. As players experience their characters' milestones and great feats, This translates into a sense of real-life accomplishment. And just like any great hero, players build empathy. By playing through the character, the game compels the player to consider others' perspectives outside of their own. Now, let me be clear. TTRPGs are not a replacement for traditional therapy, but they offer a powerful experience for therapeutic growth and personal exploration when prepared by a professional. Equipped with the skills learned through the storytelling, community, and imaginative aspects of TTRPGs gives people an engaging pathway toward personal development, healing, and change. So what's with the kinda in the video? Well, that's because that's not your D&D. Let's be real. When we think about our usual D&D groups, we think about our friends that we meet on a, hopefully, semi-regular schedule. We have snacks, we talk about our lives, and have fun. The DM is forever trapped at the head of the table and probably just prepared the session 1 hour prior. Or they are preparation beasts with an obsidian file full of all the connecting plot points of their campaign. At the end of the day, we're all regular people trying to have fun and play a game. We're not trained professionals, we're not in a controlled environment, and lastly, most of you probably aren't paying your DM. But do get your DM a gift or treat now and then, or expect a TPK. So no, while your D&D isn't a formal therapeutic intervention, that doesn't mean it isn't important or significant in helping you cope with life. And don't just take my word for it.
Can you tell me who each of you all are?
Despite my screen name there, I often go by Rail online. I'm Dennis, the Menaced.
Hi, I'm Dirk. I go by Dirk Cypher online. For some circles, I am non-binary, and I am a concept artist.
My most memorable PC, I would argue, is also one of the first ones I ever actually spent any time with. That's a bit of a trash person by the name of Yavanon. Yavanon was a tiefling barbarian. He was not smart. Combined with unhinged and willing to do nearly anything on a dare, such as eating a vampire, getting drunk with gods. He'd gotten lost in the Feywild multiple times and came back with a wife once.
So, my favorite PC, one I had, I think, the absolute blast to play was Josh. Who's Josh? He is just your average kid from Altoona, Saskatchewan, Canada. And what's special about Josh is that he's a ghoul. Well, half ghoul. Half human, half ghoul. I actually have his description of his condition, which reads, I used to be a normal kid. When I was turned into half ghoul, half human hybrid. Bummer. I had a lot of fun playing this guy.
Do you expect me to choose between my children? But I think of the characters that I kind of come back to the most, and I think most fondly, is my paladin, Ire. He was a paladin of Lathander. Long story short, his history involved him getting into a bit of an explosion. He came back with brain damage that made him believe that everyone was an enemy, and that they were all out to get him and conspiring against him. There's a pond in one of the towns that he drank from. It had magical properties, and he got the effects of a greater restoration, which cured him. That being said, I thought like it wouldn't be right to have him just simply be cured of that and become like quote unquote normal. I thought that having that brain damage exacerbated his PTSD from being in so many wars.
He's probably my first big character, and there's always just almost a nostalgic feel to him and his chaos. I think this is the first one I really hit my stride. Had fun with it, other people had fun with it, and I was just able to just have fun with him. Yeah, it is quite a simple answer, really.
So I mentioned off the hop, I'm non-binary, and I had only been fully and completely out for a couple of years by the time that we started this campaign. But that entire time is just like a very confusing sort of soup of like, what do I want to like present as kind of thing. It just kind of clicked where it's like, I think I want that to be me in a way. Every day I'm like kind of getting closer to that like dream ideal kind of thing, and I have Ire to thank for that.
I've used it to help keep in touch with certain friends, because we're like, oh, let's make this as an excuse to finally go meet up with each other. Meeting people online, and just oddly enough, a very shy person, but this fun for me, it was a way to actually connect with other people. So I ended up becoming part of these communities to the point where this is how I met my husband, was playing these games. And I would argue that's a pretty big part of my life.
I was really interested in it because it seemed like everything I wanted from games, because you get to play someone else entirely in D&D, because it's created in real time by real people. What you do matters, and it's like this perfect form of escapism. Yeah, it's an escape from my identity of life. You can have powers. You can actually bring a change to the world you cannot in the real world. For me, D&D is a chance to imagine things I won't be able to do in real life.
So I went to art school, and great thing about art school, you learn a lot about how to make your art better. Downside, it burns you out so much. It also helped me kind of like get back into doing, like, remembering that art's supposed to be fun. I've done like a lot of art for my characters, for other people's characters, like silly situations that have happened. Like, I mean, you've seen Falcon Family Guy death pose.
I've always enjoyed like the acting, the improv, telling and enjoying these stories, because we talk of these as if they are memories we had because we were there, we were the character experiencing it. So it's not, oh yeah, I rolled a dice, it rolled well, I won. No, it's, hey, I managed to fall down a tower, I broke both my knees, survived, and scaled the tower to kick the vampire's ass. But it's just fun, play pretend with your friends.
As a player, you get to create a whole different person. As a DM, you get to create a whole different world. So, yeah, the joy of creating new things is what keeps me coming back to this game, probably till the day I freaking buy it.
It's like a Matryoshka doll of creativity and creation.
And now, on with the show.
D&D is many things for many people. It's a game, a sense of community, a safe space, and a place to make friends. And for me, it's all these things and more. Because most importantly, D&D brings me joy. And I'd love to share this joy with everyone else as well. But once again, I'm Guy. And I'll see you in the next session. All right, now this one was a doozy. I have to give shout outs to my friends who helped me with recording this video and also acting as interviewees. I like to involve the people in my community in my videos somehow, so maybe I may ask you all for some help in the next one. This video really means a lot to me. I actually almost did my dissertation on using TTRPGs as a method of peer support and evaluating the empathy of GMs to act as peer support leads. But that will stay as a research article for now because I changed my dissertation to something else. But thank you for watching the video. I'm always curious to see you all's thoughts and experiences, so please leave one of your most memorable D&D experiences in the comments. And also roll a d20 with advantage. If it's a 10 or more, subscribe. And if it's not, well, watch the video again and re-roll. And of course, leave a suggestion for what you'd like to see me talk about next. If you want to see more TTRPG related content, let me know. If there's something else psychology related, let me know as well. But once again, I go by Guy, and thanks for watching.